This is Lawmakers, your source for all the news from under the Gold Dome. Here are your anchors, Wandy Lawson and David Zelski.
And good evening, everyone. Tonight on Lawmakers, a measure that would make driving without a license a felony on the third offense. It gains an unlikely opponent.
The Senate votes on the fate of Jekyll Island, and the House debates whether or not to make the Dunwoody area in DeKalb County a city.
And the Senate votes to change the state's laws regarding released sexual offenders. But first, our top story tonight, Governor Sonny Perdue expresses doubts about the mid-year budget. The schedule was set last week, declaring tomorrow as the final day of the Georgia legislature, but Governor Sonny Perdue has hinted that he may veto the compromise supplemental budget. That move could make it necessary to call the General Assembly back into special session later this month. House Speaker Glenn Richardson had some words for House members who were in discussion with the governor.
I understand the governor's inviting some of you to come down there to talk to him. He'd like for us to adjourn and postpone the session another week or two or three. Not agree on, I'm going to let y'all decide that if y'all want to do it. I'd like to vote on the budget, do something good, and get out of here. We've been here long enough.
Governor Perdue has not yet taken any action on House Bill 94, but Perdue spokesman Dan McClagan says the governor is unlikely to sign a budget that fails to meet the needs of Georgians, and that appears to be the case with this mid-year budget.
The vote on a bill that would make the punishment for driving without a license the same as driving on a suspended license was put on hold today in the House. Lawmaker Sandra Parrish joins us live now with more. Sandra.
David, Senate Bill 15 would punish those driving without a license with 2 days in jail on the first offense, 10 days on the second, and 1 to 5 years a felony on the third.
Senate Bill 15 by Senator Wiles. It addressed the suspended license section in the driver's code and makes the third time driving without a license a felony, and also makes that when you go to the county jail that the jail tries to find out the nationality of that person that's being confined.
Senate Bill 15 has advocates for immigrant rights up in arms, saying the bill targets illegals and includes a punishment that's too severe and far disproportionate to similar laws in other states.
Its intended effect is to send a message to the undocumented community in Georgia that they are not welcome here. The problem is that the unintended consequences will be far and wide, and the message actually is perceived that foreign visitors, legal or illegal, should stay out.
Representative Stephanie Benfield proposed an amendment in an attempt to lessen the penalty.
Essentially what I would like to do is allow the judge some discretion in these matters, that the court may have the authority to impose a felony sentence if he feels that's appropriate, but just to give the court discretion.
My question was for the original author because I wanted him to explain why driving without a license should rise to the level of a felony in light of the fact that we previously passed legislation indicating that you can't get a vehicle registration without a driver's license.
And I think that's an excellent question. I don't think it should be a felony, an automatic felony punishment, and that's the very reason for my amendment. I think we should simply give the court some discretion in these matters.
Well, I'll be honest with you. I'm asking that same question myself. I think everybody's well aware I'm not very favorable to making driving offenses felonies, and I'm standing here asking how this got on the calendar.
So action on Senate Bill 15 was suspended by Speaker Richardson, and it remains to be seen whether in fact it will come up in time before tomorrow's sine die. Reporting live, I'm Sandra Parrish for Lawmakers.
Thank you, Sandra. Final passage of a measure allowing courts to consider the citizenship status of a defendant or convict came to the House today without debate. Representative Doug Collins explained Senate Bill 23.
This is a bill that came through the Judiciary Non-Civil Committee. It came through with no opposition. It simply allows the court and the probation and parole to look at the status of legal status of a person before them when making determinations for sentences and parole.
Senate Bill 23 passed 153 to 6. The measure now requires the governor's signature.
A bill that would give citizens of the Dunwoody area of DeKalb County the right to vote on incorporation was lost in the House today. The debate pitted those loyal to the county against those loyal to the community and their many Republican sympathizers. Lawmakers' Jesse Freeman joins us live from the Capitol with the story. Jesse.
Well, David, the DeKalb delegation was bypassed as this bill moved forward, and both the House and Senate have dealt with the Senate Bill 82 as a general, not a local bill. The Democrats who rule the DeKalb delegation scored a victory tonight as they defeated the measure for now. Dunwoody is an affluent community of about 40,000 in North DeKalb County. Their state legislators are leading the charge for cityhood.
Do you allow a group of people to change their form of government if they want to? That's cutting to the chase.
The bill is authored by Senator Dan Weber.
Well, I'm hearing from friends back home that they want the bill to pass, of course.
The bill cleared the Senate, but an amendment in a House committee set the vote date back by a year.
There's pretty close to consensus in the community. They'd like for that to happen in 2007. And Representative Miller and I are trying to accommodate that.
The chairman of that House committee, as well as other Republicans, oppose moving the vote back up.
It is my understanding that the Senate sponsor will attempt to amend this charter once again when it goes over to the Senate. If that happens, and I have asked him to please do not try to race the clock and change this charter in the Senate.
And many Democrats, especially those from the DeKalb delegation, oppose the bill in principle.
Cities and counties form an interdependent system, and a true system form when impacts one, impacts all.
Home rule has been devastated in this process. How would you like it if I came to Savannah, Mr. Stevenson, and I told you how to dredge your harbor?
I want you to just stop for a minute and look around. Just look around. I know that there's only like 5 people in here, but you should realize just by the fact that there's only 5 people in the chamber that this is a local bill.
It is reckless because what it does is negatively impact the 3rd largest county in this state.
Now, the bill is not necessarily lost for the session. It was reconsidered and tabled, so it could come back up. Now, you saw in the package that Chairman Austin Scott was opposed to moving the vote date back up to 2007. Now, he got wind, as many of us here at the Capitol did, that Weber was going to try to move that vote date back up to 2007. And so when the bill came up for the vote, Chairman Scott, and he took many Republicans with him on this, voted the bill down. So in essence, what happened is Weber tried to get his way on the vote date as well and ultimately lost the bill. Reporting live, I'm Jesse Freeman for Lawmakers.
Thank you very much, Jesse. Legislation that aims to encourage development opportunities on Jekyll Island passed the Senate today. However, an amendment from Senator Jeff Chapman, who represents the island, prohibits any new development on the south end of the island. Senator Ross Tollison begins on House Bill 214.
They don't have the lease time out in front of them to recoup an investment. And that's what we're doing. That's what the bill does. That's what the bill says. We're not changing anything. We're just re-extending the authority's lifespan and extending the lease lifespans out so that they will come and, build a new hotel and be able to recoup an investment.
The south end of Jekyll is really the only place that's undisturbed that Georgians can actually drive to and enjoy.
If you look at this map, 95% of it is wide open. I mean, if you want to go to 100% not used, then you're getting what Cumberland Island is. I've stayed at Cumberland Island a couple times more than I've stayed at Jekyll Island. And Cumberland Island, there's absolutely nothing there for almost any Georgian at all.
I took a trip to Jekyll 2 weeks ago to look at all of this, to find out what they were talking about with the southern part, the 35%. And you know what? When I went there smack dab on the southern part in that 35% was a sign that said Vision, Jekyll Island Vision 2020. And in that sign they had nice, beautiful buildings that they were looking at developing. So I got back to see what Vision 2020 was. You can't find much about it, but somebody had uncovered a little bit about what it was, and it says, while the plan has admirable features, 2 of its provisions have drawn criticism from island residents and many of Jekyll's visitors. The first provision calls for the creation of a South End village, consisting of a mix of condominiums, estate homes, hotel accommodations on the site of Jekyll's 4-H Center and soccer fields, each of which services more than 10,000 youth annually. If this option were to be pursued, it would necessitate moving the 4-H center from the location best suited, regarded environmental education program, and moving the soccer complex. Vision 2020, if they're not going to develop it, take down the evidence when people go to look and see what they're talking about. At least do that if you want to tell us you're not going to develop it, but leave a sign there saying that's what you're planning on doing? Good grief. As far as people not staying on Jekyll Island, when I've been there, I think probably 5 times in the last 2 years during the summer, I see bus after bus, church bus after church bus parked in the hotel parking lots where youth are going as part of a church trip.
Again, the passage of House Bill 214 will extend the leasing option for developments if it ends up getting an agreement in the House, but the Chapman Amendment cuts any possible developments in the South End. House Bill 214 now goes back to the House.
The future of the Peach Care Insurance Program now rests with a House-Senate Conference Committee. House Speaker Glenn Richardson came to the well this afternoon in defense of House Bill 340 as he introduced it.
A vote to a motion to agree is to expand Medicaid and to take money from one group of taxpayers and move it to another unreasonably. It's time to stem peach care. Peach care and health care is not a constitutional right. I know there are children and there are adults that don't have health insurance, but health insurance is not a God-given, inherent constitutional right that you take money from one taxpayer and give to another, and that's what this is all about. And if you want to keep taking money from one and threatening to imprison a group of people to give to others, then you just keep expanding this. But I think the people of this state and nation are tired of it. It's time to rein it in and pull in the strings on peach care.
We should not be here cutting eligibility for peach care for working families. And we should not be sitting here by what was sent by the Senate to raise premiums unnecessarily on working families at this time, when congressman after congressman, senator after senator has told us from Washington, give us some time and we're going to put this on the spending resolution and we're going to reimburse the money for peach care. And with that, I think I'll go to the anteroom, so I won't be in violation of the rules, because to the core of everything I work on to believe, we should not be hurting children and health care in Georgia.
Representative Porter wasn't able to make it to the anteroom before the Speaker's motion to disagree with the Senate was adopted, prompting many House Democrats to leave the chamber.
I keep hearing that there are only 2 options on the table, either either Richardson's plan or Cagle's plan. No, there is a third option, and that third option is shared by Democrats in the House and the Senate, and that is to keep peach care exactly as it is. Let's wait on Congress to authorize it, because they keep telling us that they may even expand it.
But House Republicans are holding fast to their position.
Go ask a teacher or a state employee who makes $5 more than the threshold that they keep pushing towards, and ask them if they want to pay for the health care of their neighbor. And is that fair to their children when they've maybe had 1 child and are responsible enough not to continue to have children that they can't afford, while that person may have had 4, 5, and 6. So that's the basic fairness here that we're talking about.
Again, House Bill 340 has been assigned to Conference Committee.
The House today insisted on its position about whether a doctor should be required to administer an ultrasound to a woman seeking an abortion. Senate changes to House Bill 147 change the provision that a physician who administers an ultrasound prior to an abortion offer a woman the chance to view it, to a requirement that a physician provide an ultrasound to a woman seeking an abortion. Representative James Mills said that this is not practical.
Their version does not have an emergency clause in it. For example, like if a woman were in a car wreck and she's pregnant, it's kind of tough to mandate an ultrasound and to mandate an offer of viewing when she may be unconscious. I think that would be unconstitutional.
House Bill 147 is now in a House Senate Conference Committee.
The House agreed today to establish the Georgia Trauma Commission with the intention of improving Georgia's position as 20% below the national average when it comes to treating serious injury. Representative Larry O'Neill explained that 700 people per year die unnecessarily in this state.
I will tell you, it's embarrassing for me to know that just next door over in Alabama, that 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, you can dial a control area and find out where every trauma bed is available, where every surgeon is ready to do trauma surgery, which hospitals are on diversion, what transportation is available for folks that have experienced a trauma event, and all those things that ultimately equal saving lives. Our next-door neighbor's done it. I don't see why we can't.
Senate Bill 60 does not include any funding for trauma care, but it does provide a trust fund into which the commission can accept monies. Senate Bill 60 passed the House by a vote of 158 to 1. Today's vote marked final passage by the General Assembly, and the measure now goes to the governor's office.
The House agrees today that teachers should not be coerced to change a student's grades. Representative David Casas, who is a teacher, presented Senate Bill 9. He was asked just how widespread the problem is.
There have been reports not that teachers have been downgrading grades, even though we've had one situation that I know of where that happened. This bill addresses if an administrator forces the teacher or intimidates the teacher or asks the teacher to change that grade, and the teacher knowing that that student didn't achieve that grade. And we're just simply saying that if an administrator asks that, or if a school board requests that, they have to be the ones to take responsibility for that grade change.
A committee substitute to Senate Bill 9 passed the House by a vote of 163 to 1. Changes made by the House Education Committee send the bill back to the Senate.
For those of you with access to the internet, you can watch Lawmakers online. Visit our website at gpv.org for more information. Click on Watch Online and follow the instructions for watching live or looking at past Lawmakers programs in our archives. That website address again is gpv.org. Just another way we keep you apprised of what's going on at the General Assembly.
We'd like to recommend a website that's a valuable resource for information about the Georgia General Assembly. Go to www.legis.ga.gov. That website is a great research tool we at Lawmakers use on a regular basis.
The House passed the Secure and Verifiable Identity Document Act today, giving the governor discretion in implementing the Federal Real ID Act. Representative Tom Graves explains.
Whether you agree or whether you disagree with the Real ID Act, we want to protect the identities and the information of Georgians. This bill right here gives the governor the authority to delay the compliance with the federal government's requirement, which is initially authorized to begin on May 11th of next year, but has now been postponed to 2009. And this will allow the governor or his designee to not compromise the economic privacy or biological sanctity of any of the citizens of Georgia.
Senate Bill 5 passed 151 to 2. Changes made in the Rules Committee mean the legislation must return to the Senate.
Provisions to the State Sexual Offender Registry Act passed the Senate today. Senator Jim Whitehead explains House Bill 314 and a successful amendment from Senator Preston Smith dealing with incest follows.
As you may have read, that the legislation requires sexual offenders to provide information regarding change of residence, change of employment, and change of where the sex offender is attending an institution of higher education. It means that now they have 3 places they have to register so that sheriffs in those counties will be able to know at all times where they are.
This relates to the offense of incest. In the code as it's currently drafted, it relates to the more traditional versions of that, if they may be called that, that were typically between a male member of the family and a female younger member of the family, often between father and daughter, uncle and niece, that sort of scenario. Of course, we now know that there are lots of different versions and ways that people commit sexual molestation against children, and that incest is certainly possible between a father and a son, or 2 male members or 2 female members of the family. So that is all this bill does, is provide for gender neutrality.
Now, House Bill 314 passed unanimously with the Smith Amendment and now goes back to the House. Legislation that puts some of the indigent defense expenses back on the counties passed the Senate today. Senator John Wiles calls House Bill 586 a Band-Aid for the struggling program.
It is one of our continuing attempts to put a Band-Aid on indigent defense until we study the solution to solving the problem with indigent defense in Georgia. This goes a long way towards dealing with that problem. It says that a judge cannot order more than 2 attorneys shall be paid in a capital case at an hourly rate established by the council. This keeps the judge from bumping up the rate to some rate way beyond what the council can afford. And it also says the presiding judge may get 1 more attorney to represent the defendant, but that attorney's got to be paid for by the county. We're just trying not to bust the budgets of both counties and the state, quite honestly. And also it adds my bill that had passed out of the Senate, which makes it clear with this provision here that you can't go use state OCGA 15-6-24. So that's what this bill does.
House Bill 586 passed 43-7 by substitute and now goes back to the House.
House Speaker Glenn Richardson warned the House today that he's on the lookout for Senate amendments that pertain to matters of revenue. Because revenue issues must originate in the House, Richardson said he would rule these amendments non-germane.
If you have a tax bill, and if the Senate has added a tax bill to it, call it to my attention under Rule 117.2. On my own motion, I'm going to disagree and send it back. So go ahead and look at House Bill 219. Chair determines under Rule 117.2 is not germane. The House disagrees and sends it back. House Bill 219. Maybe some more coming in a minute as I listen to them. House Bill 225.
In all, Richardson rejected 6 Senate revenue amendments today, including a sales tax exemption on construction of the Cobb Marietta Coliseum, a motor fuel sales tax, a hotel-motel tax, and the elimination of income tax on retirees.
Acrimony between Republican leaders in the House and Senate has spilled over to each chamber's Rules Committee. House Rules Chairman Earl Earhart has insisted Senate members must plead for their own bills before his committee. They are not permitted to have House members do it for them. Yesterday's Senate Rules Chairman Don Balfour struck back by imposing the same restriction.
I think I mentioned this in the Senate the other day. I'm not having senators present House bills. House members need to present House bills. Unless they have a Senate resolution, they can. But senators, do you have Senate resolutions you want to talk about?
Now, Balfour went out to call Earl Earhart personally when Representative Wendell Willard presented a bill for Earhart dealing with new judgeships in certain counties. Balfour lashed out.
It says it has Earhart's name on it, but he's not the guy? No, wait a minute. Let me understand this. When my bill was in the House Rules Committee yesterday and I didn't show up, did my bill get to the House floor? I don't think it did. No, I don't think it did. But when his bill comes to the Senate and he's not here, I'm supposed to put it on the Senate floor.
A House Rules meeting for tomorrow morning has been canceled, and Chairman Balfour has not scheduled the next Senate committee meeting. Victims of crime across the nation were recognized in a ceremony at the Capitol today. Lawmakers' Bridget Snapp has that story.
As the country mourns the loss of 32 victims slain in the Virginia Tech massacre Monday morning, it couldn't be a more appropriate time for National Crime Victims' Rights Week.
We join together today to renew our commitments to never forget the men and women who are the victims.
We will continue in this building to keep pushing for legislation that makes the criminal justice system just as fair for victims as it is for defendants.
A very brave 9-year-old crime victim spoke about her painful journey to recovery.
It took a long time. It was hard the first time I was on the stand because Mr. Birchwood was in front of me. But Mr. Steve and Miss Brenda took care of it. Miss Brenda told me I could turn my chair so that I didn't have to look at him. That made me feel better. After things were over and my mom told me he got put in prison. I knew I didn't have to worry anymore. He's out of prison, and I think I know where he's at now.
Hope's courage was recognized by a gift from the Prosecuting Attorneys Council of Georgia and a standing ovation. Reporting for Lawmakers, I'm Bridget Snapp.
More than 2 months ago, Representative Mike Glanton was asking his colleagues to pray for his daughter, whose Army unit had been attacked in Iraq. Today, the House was able to honor Staff Sergeant Glanton in person.
I cannot stop crying, Daddy.
That was February 2nd. Today, Glanton's worry had changed into fatherly pride.
I'd like to introduce to you, if you would, help me give her a warm welcome here in the House of Representatives, my daughter, my heart, Staff Sergeant Letitia Glanton.
Good morning, Mr. Speaker, members of the Georgia House of Representatives. I am both humbled and appreciative to have this opportunity to address you this morning. I want to come by and personally thank each of you for my many cards, emails, and goodies sent to me in Iraq. It is good to be home with my family and to enjoy a brief reunion with my friends. I ask that you continue to pray for me, my fellow soldiers, and all the men and women of our armed forces. It is great to be home. Again, thank you for this opportunity, and may God bless this state and the United States of America. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
The House paid tribute on Tuesday to a woman who has managed the Legislative Council office for over 3 decades. As she prepares to leave the Capitol to dedicate her time to church mission work, Susan Gordon says she has appreciated her time under the Gold Dome.
It has been such a blessing to work here. It's just been an incredible blessing. And as I leave after 33, 34 years, I leave with a firm belief deep in my heart that every man and women that serves, no matter what party, are truly honorable people who are just here to serve their communities as best they can. It has been an incredible privilege to work here this time, and from the bottom of my heart I say thank you.
Well, it looks like it's going to be a late night for both the House and Senate. They are still in session, still debating the bills that are going on. But coming up tomorrow on Lawmakers, we'll have all the latest from under the Gold Dome. And actually, tomorrow for our regularly scheduled program at 7 p.m., you can watch Lawmakers. Now, we will have a Lawmakers 2007 Sine Die special tomorrow at 11 p.m. That is April 20th. If you have missed any part of this Lawmakers broadcast, tune in tomorrow morning when Lawmakers returns at 5:30 a.m. Now stay tuned for Ask This Old House. Tonight's episode features replacing a clogged aerator and proper houseplant care. Ask This Old House is coming up next here on GPB.
And although the House has closed down for the day, we understand that Speaker Richardson expects to have the 2008 budget early in the morning, and we'll have coverage of that, of course, tomorrow, our Sine Die special.
All right. Well, thank you very much for joining us. I'm David Zelski.
I'm Iwandi Lawson. Good night.
This has been a production of Georgia Public Broadcasting.